You're listening to the Kirkintilloch Herald, a Q&A review recording service podcast, brought to you by our team of volunteers currently recording from their homes across Scotland. Whether you're listening via the BWBF online players, the telephone app, or our brand new Alexa skill, please phone us on 0141 772 3976 to feedback on what you want us to provide and improve upon. Please also join your family and friends in being our audio ambassadors and share our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram all at Q&A Review. That's at symbol CUEANDREVIEW.
Articles read from the Kirkintilloch Herald, as published on Wednesday the 9th of March 2022.
Aidan's made of the right stuff to win top award. An article by Liz Gallagher. Muirhead youngster Aidan Harris, 12, has been named the Scottish winner of a national writing competition. The schoolboy will see his story about a trip into space published in a brand new book, My Twist on a Tale, Our Tomorrow, also available on audio. Last year, learning company Pearson empowered children of the ages 4 to 19 to put pen to paper and write their own stories and poems of the future. Scooping the award in the Scottish category, Aidan's work, Journey Log, was chosen alongside 16 other stories and poems written by children across the UK. Over 1,200 school, sixth form and college students originally entered the competition. Aidan's Journey Log provides 17 entries made during a trip to Saturn. The mission to harvest helium-3 to solve Earth's raw material shortage. Aidan said, quote, "It was so shocked when I found out that I'd won the competition. I still can't believe it and can't wait to listen to the audio version and see the illustrations." The main writing challenge was sticking to 1,000 words. The log entries were my way of sharing a big adventure in a short way. I already had a comic book idea about space travel for raw materials and adapted it for the competition because sustainability and resource shortages are important issues for people my age. I also wanted to write about a day-to-day life in space, and I researched the International Space Station to help me. When I finished writing, I discovered my story had a lot of similarities to life in lockdown, even though I hadn't planned that. I'm glad the judges enjoyed my story, and I'm really proud to have won. Aidan's log entries in this book, which cover the span of over 100 days, note his experience from sleeping in pods to adapting football, as well as space stories, food rations, video calls and lessons with his teacher via hologram. The story concludes with his space rocket finally docking with the space station. Lindsay Dean, Director of Primary at Pearson, said, quote, "Aidan should be extremely proud of the story he has written. His creativity and writing skill make him a worthy winner."
Celebrating Best of Our Food and Drink, an article by Maura Cook. The leading lights of the Scottish food and drink sector will once again come together to celebrate one of Scotland's largest industries and everything it has to offer at the Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Award this September. Returning after a COVID-enforced hiatus, the 21st Scotland Food and Drink Excellence Awards will take place during Scottish Food and Drink Fortnight and be held at the Edinburgh International Conference Centre on September 8th, supported by headline sponsor ASDA and the Royal Highland and Agricultural Society of Scotland, that's the RHASS. The event will celebrate the companies from artisan bakers to craft distillers and fish processors to dairy producers, teams, individuals and employers who are raising the bar and helping to build Scotland's reputation as a land of food and drink. Entry to this year's awards are now open and will close at 5 p.m. on Friday, April 8th. New categories have been introduced this year to reflect the changing priorities of the industry, including Free From in the product categories and Sustainability and Employer of the Year in the business categories. Headline sponsors ASDA will judge the tasty product categories alongside buyers and representatives from other retailers, food service, food writers and restaurateurs. The 20th Awards, held in 2019, was attended by more than 800 people and 320 entries were submitted across the 19 product and business categories. John Davidson, Deputy Chief Executive and Strategy Director at Scotland Food and Drink, said, "It's fantastic to be able to get back together to celebrate the very best our industry has to offer. Every year, the quality and range of products our food and drink businesses are creating is increasing. I can't wait to see what fantastic and innovative products are on show this year, and of course to welcome friends from across the Scottish food and drink industry to a well-deserved celebration of success later in the year." To find out more about the awards, please visit excellenceawards.foodanddrink.scot. That's EXCELLENCEAWARDS, all one word, .food and drink, FOODANDDRINK.SCOT. The article, as we said, was by Morag Cuck.
Dr. McHugh takes top award. A consultation clinic health psychologist has won a top award. Dr. Catherine McHugh from Eastern Berkshire has been named a Clinical Supporter of the Year at the finals for the Anthony Nolan Supporter Awards 2021. This was in recognition of her passionate advocacy for better mental health support for stem cell transplant recipients and people with blood cancer during the pandemic. The leading Anthony Nolan Supporter Awards recognise the outstanding achievements of the volunteer, fundraisers, clinical supporters and donors who help the pioneering blood cancer charity save lives. Dr. McHugh works in the Scottish National Bone Marrow Transplant Unit at the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital in Glasgow and has been with Anthony Nolan since 2015. The role of Dr. McHugh involves coordinating and delivering specialist psychological service to stem cell transplant patients at her hospital.
Exciting future for camping in forest. Forestry and Land Scotland, FLS, and Forestry England have committed to a new direction for camping in the forest, CITF, by acquiring the business from the Camping and Caravanning Club. The move follows positive discussions between the three parties, which enables FLS and Forestry England to buy the controlling shareholding of 72% from the club. It will enable each country to separately manage its future national forest camping offer, while in turn the club can focus on its core purpose of providing its own campsites, products and services to its members. With staycations on the rise, the purchase will also make possible the potential expansion of the network of campsites beyond existing locations, enabling more people to get closer to nature. To ensure a seamless transition, the campsites will be operated by the club in 2022, maintaining the highest levels of service and experience for customers. FLS Chief Executive Simon Hodgson said, "Camping is an important and accessible activity, which is only going to become more popular as more people consider their carbon footprint and opt for staycations. As well as bringing people closer to nature and heightening their appreciation of the environment, holidaying in the fresh air in some of Scotland's most scenic forests locations is a great way to relax and recharge your batteries. Campers pitching up in CITF sites to eat, sleep, play and exercise within the National Forest every year number into many thousands, who can have a large impact on rural economies. Many hospitality, leisure and tourism businesses are able to operate and grow as a result." Fund to help with energy bills. Households in Scotland can now apply directly to a £4 million Scottish Government fund to help with soaring energy bills. Help is available via Advice Direct Scotland for individuals who are cutting back on their fuel use to pay for essential items such as food. Applicants to the Home Heating Support Fund will need to provide evidence they have received advice from an accredited debt or energy advice agency. Registrations for help can be made until the end of March, and more than 400 charities, organisations and advisors have already signed up as referral partners so they can make applications on behalf of their clients. This will remain the best way for people to access support. But for households which have not already applied via a referral partner and have basic digital skills, an online application can be made which requires evidence of energy bills and proof of financial difficulties. The application form is available at homeheatingadvice.scot/household-registration. That's homeheatingadvice.scot/household-registration. Anyone struggling with the application can contact Advice Direct Scotland advisors for free on 0808 800 9060. That's 0808 800 9060, who can also make applications to the fund on their behalf. Targeted funding from the Home Heating Support Fund will reflect each individual's circumstances, with extra support available for households where one person is over 75, living with a disability or illness, and or living in a remote or island community. Payments can be for electricity, oil, gas, LPG, coal or other forms of heating, and are made directly to the supplier.
Helping to adopt. Scottish Adoption is a registered charity which aims to provide and support a self-help network for adoptive parents to explore the unique social, emotional and developmental needs of adopted children and young people and their families. It supports parents before, during and after the adoption process and works in partnership with a range of key agencies. It is committed to delivering a child-centred service which strives to build on its reputation as a best value provider in all aspects of the service delivery. The charity looks after people every step of the way and is committed to support all its adopted children and families for however long is needed.
Honouring our brave canine cops, an article by Herald reporter. A property company's Moodiesburn office showed its support to the Scottish Police Dog Memorial Fund recently with a £500 donation. Development Sales Manager for the Miller Home Stony Yetts Village Development, Emma Ralton, visited Police Scotland's Dog Training Centre in Glasgow to see exactly where a memorial will be located. While there, PC Carrie Ann McNabb gave Emma a tour of the centre and introduced her to 6-year-old German Shepherd Bodie. The sculpture of a Belgian Malinois police dog is being created by British sculptor John Doubleday, who has created artwork across the globe of famous royals, musicians and historical figures. He also created the UK Police Dog Memorial in Chelmsford, which is where Carrie-Anne originally got the idea. Carrie-Anne has been police officer for 16 years and joined the police dog unit 8 years ago. She's had Bodie since he was just a year old. She said, "I was lucky enough to attend the unveiling of the UK Memorial sculpture in Essex after helping them fundraise. Seeing how much it meant to the officers inspired me to try to do something specifically for Scotland's police dogs. We're extremely grateful for Miller Home's support, and their donation has given our fundraising efforts a huge boost and put us well on track for unveiling the memorial in autumn 2022. There are approximately 200 serving police dogs in Scotland across all serving constabularies: Police Scotland, Military Police, Transport Police and the Civil Nuclear Constabulary. These highly trained dogs play a crucial role in local community police work, including finding missing persons, sniffing for drugs and weapons and catching criminals." Peter Thompson, Managing Director of Miller Homes Scotland, said, "At Miller Homes we are committed to supporting the good causes in the communities we build in. The important work police dogs undertake is invaluable to our communities, and we're delighted to contribute to this memorial, which will help them to be remembered and celebrated for their outstanding work. I look forward to seeing their finished sculpture in situ."
Internet boost. Households and businesses will have significantly improved access to gigabit-capable fibre broadband years earlier than planned after a new deal was approved by North Lanarkshire Council. Up to £150 million could be spent over the initial 15-year deal, with Comsword to transform the North Lanarkshire Council's digital infrastructure significantly boosting school internet access and creating a free public Wi-Fi network across town centres and community facilities. The fundamental associated benefit is accelerating the availability of gigabit-capable fibre broadband, brackets, providing download speeds up to 1 gigabit per second, end brackets, for communities and businesses to access. The council said the deal will ensure significantly improved access to high-quality, reliable fibre connections. Michelle's a cut above the rest. Bishopbriggs nursery care worker Michelle Hagan is definitely a cut above the rest after getting her hair chopped off for charity. Michelle, who has been growing her hair for 2 years, had 16 inches of it cut off at the Lab Hair and beauty salon in town. She is donating it to the Little Princesses Trust, a charity which provides real hair wigs free of charge to young people who have lost their hair through cancer treatment. Michelle also raised the fantastic sum of £1,000 for the charity and would like to thank everyone who donated. Michelle's mum, Rhonda, said, quote, Chloe McLean's hairstylist from the Lab donated the cut and style. Such a kind and brilliant hairdresser. MP blasts council for rejecting library plan. An article by Liz Gallagher. Eastern Bartonshire MP Amy Callaghan has slammed the Eastern Bartonshire Council administration for voting down an SNP amendment that she says would have helped secure the future of local libraries. The vote came last week during the budget meeting, with the SNP group putting forward an amendment which would have instructed council officials to explore the potential to remodel smaller libraries, housing them with other council services. The proposal was put forward, according to the SNP group, with the view to safeguard the long-term future and viability of local libraries. The MP has described the decision of Tory, Lib Dem and also Labour councillors to vote against the amendment as bewildering, and further evidence of the administration's not acting in the best interest of local people. There was a backlash from local people in 2018 when the Eastern Bartonshire Leisure Trust proposed closing 3 libraries: Lindsay, Milton of Campsie, brackets Craighead, and Westerton. The latter sits in the council ward represented by the current joint councillor leaders Andrew Poulsen and Vaughan Moody. Then, 5 councillors sat on the EDLC board. Council labourer Susan Murray, Lib Dem, supported the closures. Councillor Gillian Renwick, SNP, and Jim Gibson's SNP opposed the closures. Councillor Sheila Mechan, Conservative, abstained, and Councillor Stuart MacDonald, Labour, was not at the meeting. Councillor Meekin, who is now an independent councillor after quitting the Tories, supported the SNP amendment to remodel at the recent budget meeting. Ms Callaghan said, quote, I simply cannot understand why anyone would vote against securing the future of local libraries. This was a straightforward amendment that would have resulted in a report being produced by officers to look at how best to improve and enhance local services, with the potential of housing small libraries in so-called community satellite hubs. It appears that because this good idea came from the SNP, the other parties felt the need to downvote it. It's bewildering because, at the end of the day, the people who are hurt by these political games are the residents of Eastern Bartonshire. Public libraries play a key role in our community, giving people access to books, newspapers and computers that can be used to look for jobs or fill out social security applications. We should be doing everything we can to secure their long-term future and improve the services availability locally. This is further evidence of an administration not acting in the best interests of local people. First, we had the council not applying for funding to support vulnerable people getting new fire alarms. Now we have a Tory, Lib Dem and Labour councillors refusing to back our libraries. Even the Homeless Fund, agreed last week, had to be dragged out of them by SNP councillors. She added SNP secured a number of major concessions from the Tory/Lib Dem administration at the budget meeting, including a £100,000 funding to set up a homeless hardship fund. SNP councillor Jim Gibson added they also secured £1 million extra for affordable housing and an extra £1 million for active travel and to improve paths and footways. In response, Joint Leader Andrew Poulsen, Conservative, said, quote, "Despite SNP Scottish Government's slashing of council budgets, this administration has committed extra funding to keep libraries open. This is in stark contrast to the SNP-led Glasgow City Council, where residents had to battle hard over the many months to reopen 8 libraries." Moody, Lib Dem, added, "This administration has been praised by Audit Scotland for the way the area has been run in the past 4 years. If the SNP are worried about libraries, they should ask the Scottish Government to stop cutting our grant." MSP. Boost for families in need. Local MSP Rona Mackay has welcomed new statistics which show that around 1,255 children in Eastern Bartonshire are in receipt of the Scottish Government's Scottish Child Payment, set to double to £20 per child per week in April. The payment was introduced in 2021 to support low-income families with children aged under 6 by providing regular additional financial support for families already in receipt of qualifying benefits. As of the 31st of December 2021, it is estimated that 104,000 children across Scotland were in receipt of Scottish Child Payment, equating to £45.2 million worth of payments by the Scottish Government. That is expected to rise to over 400,000 eligible children by the end of 2022, which is when the benefit will extend to children under 16. Strathkelvin and Bearsden MSP Miss Mackay said, quote, "The Scottish Child Payment, which will double in just a month's time, come April this means that 1,255 children and families across Eastern Bartonshire receive £20 per child per week, 4 times the amount originally demanded by campaigners, and illustrating just how focused the Scottish Government is on meeting Scotland's child poverty targets." Once again, though, the tale of two governments is striking. While the SNP is doubling the Scottish Child Payment, this game-changing action is being undone by the Tories at Westminster, who have cut £20 per week from many of the same families, knowingly pushing thousands into poverty. New LGBTQ+ adoption events. An article written by Morag Cook. Scottish Adoption is to hold an LGBTQ+ adoption events to help meet the shortfall of adoptive parents across Scotland. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and queer (LGBTQ+) people are being urged to consider adoption during the annual LGBTQ+ Adoption and Fostering Week, which runs from March 7th to 13th. Scottish Adoption is the #1 adoption agency in Scotland for LGBTQ+ adoptions and has nearly 100 years of experience of working with vulnerable children. They know how important it is to find the best possible placement for each child and are holding 2 events as part of an LGBTQ+ Adoption and Fostering Week. Vicky Foster, practice manager at Adoption, says, quote, "We strongly believe that every child deserves a permanent loving home, and that is why we are actively encouraging people to consider opening their homes and families to adoption. Currently across the UK, there are a number of sibling groups and older children waiting to be adopted. An older child in this context is considered to be a child that is 4 years plus, so really still very young. LGBTQ+ people often come to adoption as the first choice for expanding their family, bringing love and commitment and resourcefulness. Our experience tells us that LGBTQ+ people could help make up the shortfall of adoptive parents for these particular groups of children across the UK." End quote. Scottish adoption events as part of LGBTQ+ Adoption and Fostering Week aim to highlight the need to find those who can offer a secure and loving home to some of the 14,458 children who are currently living in care in Scotland. The event will help spread the word and raise awareness about adoption within the LGBTQ+ community, highlighting the needs of children in their area who need loving families. Parent practitioner Stephen, who adopted through Scotland's adoption with his partner Dennis, said, quote, "Some people are still put off by fears that they won't be welcomed by agencies such as Scottish Adoption, but they shouldn't be. Scottish Adoption is so open and welcoming. I get to meet a lot of families in my role as a parent practitioner, and there is a diverse range of families from the LGBTQ+ community here, including plenty of parents who are single or, dare I say it, older. It's great to see how well these children are doing, and what positive and rewarding choice adoption can be." End quote. Until April 2022, Scottish Adoption made the decision to only accept applications from couples and individuals who are willing to consider adopting children who are in sibling groups or single older children, 4+. The decision was taken due to the profile of children wanting to be adopted changing. For more information about adoption in Central Scotland, call Scottish Adoption on 0131 553 5060 or visit www.scottishadoption.org. On its way for Ukraine. An article by Liz Gallagher. Local people have been rallying round to do their bit to help the people of Ukraine who have been forced to flee their war-torn country. Dozens of residents all around the area responded to an appeal on social media by Torrance family-run cycle store Solid Rock Cycles for provisions for refugees. Several van loads of essential supplies have been dropped off by Solid Rock Cycle owners Kelly and Mark Colquhoun and their kids Neve and Robbie at the Hindu Mandir Church at Glasgow, who are transporting the provisions to Poland. The appeal was organised by Kelly on the Cycle Store's Facebook page, and the family say they have been overwhelmed by the response. They posted, quote, "Feeling very grateful and generally overwhelmed by everyone's generosity. As always, in times of need, you only have to look around you to see good people trying to help. The big van is now full to the roof and will be going back to the shop for a refill as we have at least another van load. The pickup is also full to bursting. It's been bonkers, but we made it to Hindu Mandir and dropping off all your very generous donations. The volunteers at Hindu Mandir are just amazed. They are so kind and positive. Only good things can happen when everyone comes together. Everyone that didn't manage over and still wants to help, the group are desperately trying to raise funds for fuel to get to Poland. Donations ranged from cash to first aid supplies, nappies, baby bottles, blankets, quilts and towels. Meanwhile, an appeal by David Brackenridge, pastor of Home Church in Kirkintilloch, helped raise almost £10,000 to help Ukrainian refugees within just 24 hours. By Thursday, it had passed the £17,000 mark. The church is also staging a special fundraising concert at the Home Church in Kirkintilloch on Saturday, March 26th at 6 p.m. Dave said, quote, "I'm blown away by the response." End quote. Donate to the Home Church Appeal at www.homechurch.scot/giving. Donate to the Solid Rock Cycle Appeal at www.justgiving.com/crowdfunding/helping Ukraine. Residents can recycle more. Residents will be able to recycle more than ever with a major expansion of the types of plastics that can be included in the brown bin beginning this month. From Monday, March 28th, there will be a significant increase in the types of items which the Council can accept from its curbside recycling collections. In addition to plastic bottles such as shampoos, detergent and drinking bottles, the following can now be put into your brown bin and diverted from landfill. Examples: tin foil, carrier bags, bread bags and vegetable bags, plastic trays for microwave meals, fruit punnets or biscuits, plastic tubs such as margarine or ice cream tubs, plastic pots such as those from yogurt, puddings, noodles and soup. All items must be clean and empty to be successfully recycled. This is to ensure the many tons of plastic collected make it through the recycling process successfully. Any residents who cannot access the Council's recycling facilities are encouraged to get in touch.
Warning over census scammers. Scots have been warned not to get caught out by census scammers as the official count of Scotland's population gets underway. Advice Direct Scotland, which runs the National Consumer Advice Service, consumeradvice.scot, urged people to be aware of the signs of potential fraudsters attempting to gather personal or financial information. The charity said scammers that may request money for a fine or fee or ask for personal financial information like a national insurance number, bank details or debit or credit card details to be provided. It stressed that Scotland's census will never ask for money or this type of personal information. Advice Direct Scotland said people should only provide personal information in the formal online Scotland Census questionnaire and explained this will only be sent as a paper copy if the person specifically requests it. Young tourism careers take off. An article by Lgbtq reporter. Young people with a taste for travel and immersive experiences are getting their careers off to a great start at Scotland's National Tourism Organisation. Visit Scotland has retained Investors in Young People Gold accreditation for the 7th year in a row at a crucial time for supporting the tourism and events industry. Investors in Young People is a national award that recognises organisations that have effective youth employment practices in place, from recruitment through to retention. Developing the skills of employees and recruiting future leaders in tourism and events is a key focus for Visit Scotland as the industry continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and as it works to support the ambition of Outlook 2030 for Scotland to be a world leader in 21st century tourism. Visit Scotland's People Strategy 2021-2024 aims to build on the National Tourism Organisation's reputation as a leading world-class environment for the best talent in Scotland and showcase tourism as an employer of choice. It aligns with the organisation's strategic framework and the Scottish Government's Young Persons Guarantee to give talented and ambitious employees the support and development opportunities to deliver on those commitments. Scottish Apprenticeships Week 2022 runs from March 7th to the 11th to show the value of Scottish apprenticeships to people, businesses and the economy. In Visit Scotland, there have been 15 modern apprentices and 22 graduates taken on in the last 5 years. Emily Buchanan, Edinburgh Content Executive in the Brand and Content team, image attached, said, "Since I started working for Visit Scotland, I have been given great support from both HR and my colleagues. From in-house training opportunities, shadowing meetings to even leading an important projects, it has helped me gain confidence in working as both an individual and as part of a team. To view Visit Scotland's People Strategy and to find out about the benefits of working for the National Tourism Organisation, please visit Jobs and Careers -working for us, visitscotland.org.
Extent of Pandemic by Andrew Dowdswell. Tens of thousands of COVID-19 infections have been identified in Eastern Bartonshire since the pandemic began, as reinfections are included in official statistics for the first time. As of Tuesday, March 1st, the UK Health Security Agency has changed its reporting of cases in Scotland. It means if one person tests positive for the virus more than 90 days after the first positive result, 2 infections will be recorded. The change has resulted in a significant rise in the number of cases recorded across the UK. A total of 32,951 cases had been confirmed in Eastern Bartonshire when the UK COVID's daily dashboard was updated on March 1st. This was up from 31,312 on Monday, when reinfections were not included in the figures. The cumulative rate of infection in Eastern Bartonshire, which covers the whole pandemic, stands at 30,300 cases per 100,000 people, far higher than the Scotland average of 26,682. Across the UK, almost 19 million coronavirus infections have been recorded since the start of the pandemic, an increase of 98,867 compared to Monday. Reinfections for England and Northern Ireland have been reported by the UK HSA since January 31st. The dashboard shows 249 people had died in the area by March 1st. It means there have been 4 deaths in the week previous, which is an increase on 2 the previous week. They were among 10,768 deaths recorded across Scotland. The figures include anyone who died within 28 days of a positive test result for COVID-19 and whose usual residence was in Eastern Bartonshire. Daily death counts are revised each day, with each case backdated to the actual date of death. The figures also show that more than 4 in 5 people in Eastern Bartonshire have received a booster dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The latest figures show 76,830 people had received a booster or third dose by February the 28th, Monday, 82% of those aged 12 and over, based on mid-2020 population estimates from the Office of National Statistics. A total of 89,548 people, 95%, had received 2 jabs by that date. Film Award for Student by Liz Gallagher. A talented young student has won an award in a prestigious Gaelic short film competition. Sorley Johnston, aged 19, who attended Bishopbriggs Academy, triumphed in this year's prestigious Gaelic short film competition, Film G 2022. His creation, Aileen Lewis, was named Best Student Film in the open category. The film follows Sorley and girlfriend Lewis when they cycled the Hebridean Way in the summer of 2021. The film was produced by Sorley on a GoPro. He said he wanted to record Lewis's reactions because it was her first time visiting the islands and she was very excited to go. He also tried to teach her Gaelic along the way. Sorley, who is now doing the Gaelic media course at Sabalmore Osteg on Skye, said, "One day we cycled 120 kilometres and the weather was awful. We got absolutely soaked and battered by the wind. I entered Film G because I wanted to showcase a film that I had made myself while I was still on my course and had access to all the editing equipment and software. I planned to use the prize money to buy a camera so I could continue to make films." The Film G Awards ceremony was screenplayed by BBC Alba last week and is still available to watch on the BBC iPlayer. Films followed this year's competition theme, Lorg, which means search, find or trace, and with over 90 filmmakers attempting to find the winning formula, the judges had a tough job whittling down the entries over multiple days. Debbie Mackay, project manager at Canon Graphics Studio on Skye, who delivered the project, said, "It was another great year for entries, and we were especially impressed by the high level of storytelling and filmmaking skills amongst our youth categories. As the competition continues to grow, we see filmmakers push themselves to a higher standard year after year. It's a privilege to be a part of the project." Isabel McTaggart, director of multi-platform content at MG Alba, said, "Film G has always been so important to Gaelic media as a whole, as well as the individual filmmakers and groups who take part year after year. Seeing this talent coming through the ranks is gratifying." Article by Liz Gallagher. Lighting Up for Ukraine by Liz Gallagher. Local landmarks have been illuminated in yellow and blue, and Eastern Bartonshire Council is flying the Ukrainian flag at its HQ in support for the war-torn country and its people. The gesture is a sign of solidarity after the invasion of Ukraine by Russia's Vladimir Putin. The community hub in Bishopbriggs and the Lily Art Gallery have been lit yellow and blue since last Tuesday, whilst the community hubs in Bearsden and Kirkintilloch and the Milngavie Town Hall will be lit blue. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian flag will be flown at the council headquarters at South Bank Marina, and Provost Gary Hughes says he has written to the UK-Russian ambassador calling on Russia to cease its attack and recognise international law. The council said the letter also reinforces Eastern Bartonshire's commitment to helping Ukrainians in any way it can if called upon. Joint Council leader Councillor Andrew Paulson said, I am appalled by the actions of Russia's illegal invasion. In Eastern Bartonshire, we want to show our support to the Ukrainian people, their spirit and the bravery they are showing amidst this cowardly and horrifying attack. By lighting our buildings and flying the Ukrainian flag, we are standing against the brutal invasion and demonstrating our commitment to peace. We are saying to the Ukrainian people that they are in our thoughts and we stand firmly with them. Joint Leader Councillor Vaughan Moody added, "Like the majority of the world, I have been watching in horror at the attacks. When watching the scenes unfold, it is easy to feel helpless. We hope by making these gestures we are showing the world, and most importantly the people of Ukraine, that we not only support them at this time, but we are ready to help them in any way we can." Eastern Bartonshire MP Amy Callaghan, in a letter to Chief Executive Jerry Corns on Friday, February 25th, had called on the council to illuminate local landmarks to show support for people in the war-torn country, as well as requesting the area stands ready to offer shelter to displaced people. Article by Liz Gallagher. Make sure you're registered to vote. Everyone who is 16 or over and resident in Scotland is being encouraged to register to vote so they can participate in the council elections on Thursday, May 5th. The Electoral Commission is running Welcome to Your Vote Day tomorrow, Thursday, to raise awareness amongst recently enfranchised foreign citizens about their right to vote in the upcoming council elections in Scotland. Councils make decisions on a range of issues which affect our everyday lives, including education, social care, housing, leisure services, and rubbish and recycling collection. Jerry Corners, the returning officer for Eastern Bartonshire, said, "Due to recent changes in the law in Scotland, these elections will also be the first opportunity for many new Scots to have their say on who they want to represent them in their council. You must be registered to vote by midnight on Monday, April 18th, to participate in these elections. You can register now at gov.uk/register to vote. It is easy to do and only takes 5 minutes. There are a number of ways to have your say in the election in May. You can vote at a polling place, by post, or by appointing someone you trust to vote on your behalf, which is known as a proxy vote. I would encourage as many people as possible to register so they will have the option of taking part in local democracy on the 5th of May. For more information about voting in elections in Scotland, go to the Electoral Commission's website at www.electoralcommission.org.uk/voter. The Importance of Access to Regular Dental Checkups by Dr. Frank Dunn. It is without dispute that the socialist politician Aneurin Bevan was the architect of the National Health Service. Bevan hailed from the mining town of Tredegar in South Wales. He left school without qualifications, but educated himself and became more and more involved in the Labour Party. He was elected as an MP in 1929 and was made Secretary of State for Health in 1945. He had always had an interest in healthcare since participating in the Tredegar Medical Aid Society, which collected a small percentage of the miners' wages in return for the provision of health. This model of care was used by Bevan as a template for the NHS, but Bevan was not sold on insurance-based systems, being determined to secure a health service free at the point of delivery for all. He and his proposal for an NHS was hugely unpopular with the medical profession, and it required all his skills to win the medics over. Bevan resigned in protest 3 years after the introduction of the NHS, when it was proposed to introduce charges for dentures and spectacles. He felt this was the thin end of the wedge and would lead in the long term to a threat to the whole concept of the NHS. It is somewhat ironic that some 71 years later, there are renewed concerns about dentistry and the NHS. The pandemic led to an abolition of routine dental checks. This has led to huge waiting lists for dental care, and patients who can afford it have opted for a private dental plan. Dental caries was a major issue when I was a child. I hardly knew an adult who did not have dentures, known as wallies. The dentures were taken out at night and put in a glass jar beside the bed. My dad told us that his false teeth would chatter in the jar when he was having a nightmare. Cardiologists had a particular interest in teeth because they could deliver a bark into the bloodstream, which led to serious heart infection, especially if there was dental caries. The question, "Are these your own teeth?" was an integral part of history taking. On one occasion the reply was, No, these are my man's. I was in a hurry this morning. It is important everyone, whatever their financial situation, has access to checkups. It would be an unwanted consequence of COVID if we return to the days of dental decay and the need for dentures. By Dr. Frank Dunn.
From the Kirkintilloch Herald, Wednesday the 9th of March 2022. From the District News section, Church Notices. Kirkintilloch, Home Church, Scotland. The fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith, is a firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. Hebrews 11 verse 1. The Message. Home Church welcomes you to any of our Sunday services and midweek activities as follows: 9:30am Communion, 10am Prayer Time, 10:30am Fellowship, tea and coffee available, 11am Worship service and Children's Church followed by tea and coffee. The main service at 11am is online and in person. One church, Home Church, 4 locations, soon to be 5. Kirkintilloch, North Coast, Northern Ireland, Stornoway and online. A church for all ages. A new location is opening up in Glasgow in April. Various study groups for all ages are on Wednesdays at the church at 6:30pm for families with children, and also at 7:30pm. Also, Zoom meetings for those who live at a distance. See Facebook and Instagram for up-to-date information. Kirkintilloch Church of God. The usual Sunday Good News service at Regent Hall, Regent Street, remains cancelled for the time being. We are still continuing our Zoom services on Sunday evenings at 6:30pm. The speaker this Sunday will be Lindsay Woods. A warm invitation to everyone who is able to join us on Zoom. Access details for the stream can be obtained by emailing hello@regenthall.org. Come to the coffee corner on Wednesday from noon until 2pm for home baking and coffee. COVID safe measures are in place. For up-to-date and further information, visit our website on www.regenthall.org. Jesus said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." John 14 verse 1. St David's Memorial Parks Church. At St David's Memorial Parks Church, our morning service on 13th of March 2022 will be at our usual time of 10:30am and will be led by our Church of Scotland reader, John Nicholson. During our morning worship, school-aged children will have the opportunity to go through to our halls for their own time of fun and learning with JAM. All are welcome to attend our service. We would ask that you continue to wear a face mask during the service, unless exempt from doing so. We look forward to welcoming you to the church. St Columba's Church. Do join us for our Sunday morning service at 10:30am each week, where we consider to study the Gospel of Luke together. We also have a children and young people's ministry running alongside the service on a Sunday morning, and visitors' children are always welcome. You're also most welcome to our midweek service at 10am on a Wednesday, as we look together at the Book of Acts. We'd be really glad to meet you and join you for tea or coffee or juice after either of these services, if you're able to stay for that. If you can't come into a service in person, you can still connect with us by live stream via our website on www.kirkintillochstcolumbus.org.uk or by searching for St Columba's Kirkintilloch on YouTube. We also have a full programme of events during the week, including Little Fishies, our community carer and toddler group, and the first Kirkintilloch Boys Brigade. Please see the church website for more details. Reverend Philip Wright, Minister, St Columba's, Kirkintilloch, Old L Road, Kirkintilloch, G66, 3HQ. pwright@churchofscotland.org.uk. St James Church, Hilton Road, Bishopbriggs. Rector the Reverend Paul Watson, 0141 230 4080. The church is now open for socially distanced services. Face masks essential. This Thursday at 11 a.m. and on Sunday at 9 a.m. and at 10:30 a.m. Everyone is welcome to come along to any of these services. Do stay on for tea or coffee and fellowship afterwards while regulations permit. The Meditation Labyrinth is still available in the car park for a mindful walk around. There are also other virtual services and groups. For up-to-date and further information, refer to our social media. Facebook, St James the Less Bishopbriggs. Website, www.stjamesbishopbriggs.org.uk. Colston Wellpack Church. A warm welcome to our morning service this Sunday at 11 a.m, led by Reverend Leslie Grieve. Tea and coffee will be served after the service. The Colston Art Club continues every Monday from 10 a.m to 1 p.m. and is open to all who enjoy art and good company. The food bank remains open every Monday and Friday from 2 p.m to 4 p.m. And to all who contribute to this worthwhile cause, we give you a very special and sincere thank you. The Bible study will be on this Wednesday, March the 9th, at 7:30 p.m. in the church hall. All church organisations and groups are working hard to return to normal activities as soon as possible. Catch our church services on Facebook, Colston Wellpark Parish Church, and if you require further information on our church, activities etc., contact Leslie Grieve on 087813 255 052. Kenmure Parish Church. For our 11 a.m. service, we welcome back Reverend Maurice Dutch to lead us on this, the second Sunday in Lent. The service will be live streamed on YouTube and can be found by searching for Kenmure Bishopbriggs. Details of all our groups that are now running may be found on our website, kenmure-church.co.uk. To find us on Facebook, just search for Kenmure Parish Church. If you would like to join our WhatsApp group or receive the Bible studies from ABC, then email us at kenmurechurch@icloud.com. Lenty Union Parish Church. Sunday worship will be led by Reverend Dan Carmichael at 11 a.m. in the church. Young people are also welcome to the Lighthouse and Bible class. A live stream of the service is available on YouTube via our website. Tea and coffee may be served in the hall after the Sunday service. Sunday chat is at 12:30 p.m. on Zoom. Message Church is on Saturday, March the 12th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the new hall. Enjoy some all-age fun. Craft Cafe is on Tuesday, March the 15th at Dean House between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Bring your own craft work or join in with a group project. The Meeting Place Coffee Shop is open on Wednesdays 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in the new hall. Meet your friends and enjoy a chat over a cup of tea or coffee. Everyone, from the very young to the young at heart, is welcome to join us, where we also have a good selection of greetings cards and second-hand books for sale. Youth Cafe is open for young people in S1 to S6 every Thursday from 3:45 to 5 p.m. Games, chat, snacks and activities. The Coffee Pot is open on Fridays at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in the new hall for teas, coffee and chat. At all events, face coverings are required unless exempt, and test and protect details collected in line with guidance. Everyone will be made very welcome. Milton of Campsie Church. We are back in the building. No need to book, but we still show love for one another by wearing masks. Jigsaw, EPIC and Crossover will meet as usual. Next Sunday is the second Sunday of Lent. We'll be thinking about Jesus as the mother hen who protects our chickens. Send us a pic of yourself wearing some kind of protection, gloves, goggles, shin guards, helmet, etc. Noon Zoom coffee and chat is now at 12:30 p.m. Contact Julie for the link. And remember the phone number for a dial-in service which enables you to hear Sunday's service. Just dial 01360 545 345. House groups are happening on Wednesday at 2 p.m, Thursday at 7:15 p.m, and Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Phone Phyllis on 07582 713 463 for Zoom login details. Time to Pray is back in the building, 7:15 p.m. to 7:55 p.m. on Wednesday. BB Anchor and Junior sections meet on Friday at 6:15 p.m. The next Go Mad Extra is on Sunday, March the 13th from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Publicity for this has been distributed, and of course you can register online with Jotform. Lindsay Old Parish Church. Sunday morning service is at 11 a.m. This service will be available online and on the phone line later in the afternoon. Please take a lateral flow test before attending the service. Come and Sing. The dementia-friendly singing group meets in Church Hall on Tuesdays, March the 15th from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Thursday Club meets on March the 24th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. for tea, coffee, games and chat. And that was this week's church notices from the district news section of the Kirkintilloch Herald. From the Kirkintilloch Herald, Wednesday the 9th of March 2022, from the district news section. Summer Youth Show. The Kirkintilloch players are delighted to announce that our youth summer show is back. This year it is going to be Sister Act, Junior, a musical filled with catchy songs and a wide variety of fantastic parts. If you're primary 6 to 6 year, or the equivalent age, and you're interested in theatre, then we'd love to see you at the Turret Theatre for our auditions. The Kirky players are nearly 100 years old, so what better time to get involved? You'll make new friends, learn new skills and have a fantastic time. For more info, please see our Facebook page where you will find video and or email kpyouthconvener@gmail.com for more info. Live theatre is back and we'd love you to be a part of it. Kirkintilloch Players is an amateur drama company and a Scottish charity, SC 002574, regulated by the Scottish Charity Regulator, OSCR. Website is www.kirkintillochplayers.co.uk. Milton of Campsie, SWI. Today, Wednesday, March the 9th, is our next meeting in the Village Hall at 7:30 p.m. It's a Calamity Jane film night. Popcorn, chalk ice and soft drinks available. No competition tonight, but we will be having a raffle. Visitors welcome, £4. Spring Booster. Spring Booster jabs are being offered to those aged 75 and over and people at highest risk of severe COVID-19 disease from this week. To protect these groups, a spring booster dose will be offered at least 24 weeks after the last vaccine dose to adults aged 75 years and over, residents in care homes for older adults, and individuals aged 12 years and over who are immunosuppressed. Following recent advice from the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, GCVI, letters are now being sent out to parents and guardians inviting children aged 5 to 11 for their first vaccination appointments. Children in this age group with specific medical conditions have already been invited. Health Secretary Hamza Yousaf said, "We know that those in high priority groups are at a greater risk of serious illness from COVID-19, and I therefore welcome the start of the rollout, which will offer a further dose to these people. Vaccination has been our most effective tool against coronavirus. However, the degree of protection offered wanes over time, which is why booster vaccination is needed to maintain the best protection against COVID-19 for those at the highest risk of severe effects of the virus. The additional booster dose will improve your level of protection significantly and is the best way to protect your health and those around you. I continue to encourage everyone to receive the doses they are eligible for as and when they become available. Net Zero Heroes. Energy company SSE has kicked off its latest apprenticeship recruitment campaign as it looks to step up delivery of its £12.5 billion Net Zero Acceleration Programme. The business has said it needs a green army of energy workers for a range of positions across the UK as it looks to deliver net zero. Director of HR at SSE, John Stewart, said, "I very much see apprentices as being a key component of the workforce to deliver our net zero acceleration programme. Really ambitious climate change targets have been set, and going forward, we think that young people have a great opportunity to become the next generation of low carbon workers and to help us make good on these commitments. Our apprenticeship programme is really big by UK standards and gives young people a fantastic platform to earn while they learn and secure long-term sustainable careers at a company that is leading the way in the fight against climate change. This year, the business is recruiting for 90 positions. Many of the roles available are in rural areas, providing high-quality, well-paid training opportunities which support local economies and communities. Visit careers.sse.com/apprenticeships-and-trainees. Voice from Holyrood. Wind farms are the green future, by Ross Greer, MSP. It's hard not to feel distraught at events in Ukraine over the last fortnight. Putin's invasion was an unprovoked attack on a democratic country, and we must show solidarity with the people of Ukraine and the many Russians who oppose this war in whatever way we can. The UK government were far too slow to cut ties and announce sanctions on Russia and the Putin-linked oligarchs who have bought influence and power here for years. One of the first actions taken by a European government, however, was the axing of Nord Stream 2 by Germany, a decision taken by my Green colleague, the Vice-Chancellor Robert Habeck. Nord Stream 2 was an £8.3 billion project to supply Germany with Russian gas via the Baltic Sea. It would have covered a massive 70% of Germany's natural gas consumption. Its cancellation will hit Russia hard. Fossil fuels account for 50% of all of Russia's exports. The German government were honest with their citizens, acknowledging that this will drive up already surging gas prices, but it was an essential step to protect freedom and democracy on our continent. Here in Scotland, there are serious lessons to be learnt. Not only should we be urgently phasing out fossil fuels to prevent catastrophic climate change, but we also need to think about security and independence of energy supply. Relying on other countries or unstable globally traded commodities like gas is high risk. Fortunately, there's an alternative, one being progressed by Green MSPs within the Scottish Government. We need to invest heavily in locally generated renewable energy and in energy efficiency measures, which result in building needs for far less energy to keep them warm in the first place. That way will protect people from eye-watering bills caused by global market shocks or the actions of hostile states like Russia. Of the many steps the Scottish Government have taken in the last few months, one of the most significant was the announcement of 17 new leases for offshore wind farms. These projects will produce over 12 times the energy of all our current offshore wind farms, as well as create thousands of jobs. On a more local scale, Green Minister Patrick Harvey announced last month a £300 million fund for heat networks. And that was this week's District News from the Kirkintilloch Herald, date Wednesday the 9th of March 2022. From the Kirkintilloch Herald, date Wednesday the 9th of March 2022, from the opinion section, let's talk. Today's letters page from the Kirkintilloch Herald. Difficult not to compare so many timid Scots with brave Ukrainians. Sir, as we witness the tragedy of yet another futile war relayed via our TV screens, we also see the determination and passion of the whole Ukrainian population uniting in defence of their land and freedom. And that passion, which extends beyond Ukraine's border, as citizens return home from many countries to join the fight. It is difficult to avoid comparing the commitment of Ukrainians with the timidity of almost half the Scottish population. So many Scots who are content to have us another country as overlord, stripping the land of its assets and treasure for their centuries. My heart weeps for what this country could be. Oh, for a nation peopled by the brave like Ukraine. Yours, etc., Richard Walthew, by email. I have got to agree, First Minister is indeed the most dangerous woman in UK. Sir, I was amazed to read that Nicola Sturgeon has decided to take great pride in being described as the most dangerous woman in Britain. Particularly at this time, when dangerous leaders are putting the future of the world at risk. Dangerous people rarely accept alternative views or criticism. In the case of the SNP, at a party conference some years ago restricting members from publicly disagreeing or criticising the party's MP, SNP's councillors, and party leadership. In the case of the First Minister and her inner circle, one of the persistent dangers is their lack of ability to effectively govern. Over the past 14 years, education standards have fallen, lack of investment in ferries to Scottish Islands has put people's jobs and health at risk, and local authority services have never been weaker. Perhaps the most dangerous element of the First Minister is her determination to convince people that if independence was achieved, everything would suddenly become wonderful. I agree with Ms Sturgeon, she is the most dangerous woman. Equally, I have no difficulty in recognising Boris Johnson as the most dangerous man. Yours, etc., Finlay Craig, by email. It's planetary cooling we should be fearing, not planetary warming. Sir, to maintain today's level of modern civilization worldwide, we need reliable, adequate power sources all day and every day. The following are thus ruled out: sun, wind and water, dependent renewables, which demand predictably constant natural forces to keep operating. Adequate batteries or other means of power storage, despite development over the past century, are not available to us. Power from nuclear fission, available in many modern countries, is, actually, the safest method of electricity generation. Gaining every source of energy carries hazards, the most obviously exemplified by coal mining. Those fearing the hypothetical but unproven man-made intensification of natural climate changes can be reassured that, from the UK at least, greenhouse gas output is so tiny as to be negligible. Other nations with permanent man-made carbon dioxide, CO2, release, China, India, Russia, and very many more, yield the great bulk of the world's greenhouse gases. Far from being toxic to life, CO2 is absolutely vital for the greening of the planet's vegetation and the growth of crops. Pipe-dream renewable sources of energy, such as the tide and nuclear fusion, despite many decades of developmental experiments, are not realities, nor necessarily will be within our lifetimes of all now living on planet Earth. Thus, we cannot avoid releasing CO2 if domestic, medical and industrial power sources are to continue to be met. Although pipe dreams' silver linings may appear, we cannot afford to await them. They may not materialise. Moreover, since a grand solar minimum is developing, the Earth is now cooling. Thus much of the world should fear not overheating, but worsening cold. Yours, etc., Charles Wardrop. Address supplied. And that was the letters from this week's Let's Talk page.
East Bartonshire Council public notices. East Bartonshire Licensing Board, Gambling Act 2005, Statement of Licensing Principles. In terms of Section 349 of the Gambling Act 2005, East Bartonshire Licensing Board intends to publish a statement of the principles it proposes to apply in exercising its licensing functions under the Act during the 3-year period from the 11th of April 2022. The Statement of Principles will be published on the 11th of March 2022. The statement will be published on East Bartonshire Council's website at easternbarton.gov.uk and will also be available for inspection at any of East Bartonshire Council's community hubs. These are located at the under-noted addresses in Kirkintilloch, Lennoxtown, Bishopbriggs and Bearsden. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, inspection is by appointment only. For further details and to book an appointment, please call 0300 123 4510 or email customerservices@easternbarton.gov.uk. That's customerservices@easternbarton.gov.uk. The Statement of Principles will come into effect on the 11th of April 2022. Karen Donnelly, Clerk of the Licensing Board, under note of addresses: Kirkintilloch Community Hub, 24 West High Street, Kirkintilloch, G66 1AD. Lennoxtown Community Hub, 46 Main Street, Lennoxtown, G66 7JJ. Bishopbriggs Community Hub, 170 Kirkintilloch Road, Bishopbriggs, G64 2LX. Bearsden Community Hub, 69 Drimmen Road, Bearsden, G61 3QT. Planning applications. TPED 220091, 5 Colt Park Avenue, Bishopbriggs, Eastern Bartonshire, G64 2AT. Installation of wider replacement French doors to rear elevation, Section 65, affecting CA 21 days. TPED 220092, 14 Stewart Drive, Bishopbriggs, Eastern Bartonshire, G64 2AS, replacement door, Section 65, affecting CA 21 days. TPED 220082, 57 Kirkintilloch Road, Lenzie, Eastern Bartonshire, G66 4LB, new single-storey rear extension, addition of mono-pitch roof and patio doors to garage and installation of PV panels to garage and house roof. Section 65, affecting CA 21 days. TPED 220090, Beechwood, One Grove Park, Lenzie, Eastern Bartonshire, G66 5AH, replacement of existing external windows, Section 65, affecting CA 21 days. TPED 220111, 6 Gungabber Avenue, Lenzie, Eastern Bartonshire, G66 4LJ, erect single-storey side extension, Section 65, affecting CA 21 days. The application plans and other documents can be viewed online through the Council's website or may be inspected at Eastern Bartonshire Council's planning offices, South Bank House, Strathkelvin Place, Kirkintilloch, G66 1XQ, between 9:30am and 1pm, Monday to Friday. However, you should contact the Planning Department in advance to ensure the plans can be made available to you. Written comments may be made within the above period to the Council through the Council's website or to the above address. Any representations will be treated as public documents and made available for inspection by interested parties and may also be published on the Council's website.
Glens get title boost from rivals. Rugby side Allen Glens saw their title hopes get a boost on Saturday, despite the game at home to Cambuslang being called off because of COVID-19. Tennent's West Division 1 rivals Gannock's game did go ahead, but they were beaten 29-20 at Kilmarnock. Glens, who still have a 100% record this season, remain third in the table, 3 points behind Garnock, but now with 3 games in hand. However, Stewartry did win, thumping Annan 68-7, and are now top of the table, 6 points ahead of the Bishopbriggs side, but with 2 games more played. Lindsay's game with Cannock was also postponed owing to COVID-19. This Saturday, Glens are away to Kilmarnock. Lindsay have no game scheduled. Patterson is back on track with the title win. An article written by Ian McLean. Kirkintilloch hurler Ross Patterson has won his first Scottish title as a skip in his own right. 6 years after winning the Scottish Championship as part of Team Brewster, Patterson and his current teammates came through a tight battle with Team White at Stirling to claim a 6-5 win. The 37-year-old was the only player on the ice to have won a title previously, but while he was playing skip Stones, the shots were called by Kyle Waddle, who represented Team Great Britain at the Olympics in Korea 4 years ago. Their experience helped them edge out the youthful lineup led by Ross White, who had rejoined his team during this event after winning the Olympic silver medal in Beijing as alternative for Team Moat. A delighted Patterson said, quote, "We've put a really big emphasis on this week, putting in a really big training block. We've been consistent all week, and the result that we got is just a result of the work we've put in. I was a bit calmer than I was in 2016 with Tom Brewster. That was a bit of an emotional one, when it was just nice to get across the line. But this week, I have to say I was feeling pretty calm. We'd been playing so well and so consistently all week that we knew we didn't have to up our game going into the final. All we had to do was replicate the standard we'd been producing. We had a semi-final where we had confidence that we had to come in and repeat that, and we knew if we did, we would be really close. We struggled against Team White previously, but this year we know how good we are as a team and how hard we've worked. We've taken confidence from that and feel we're back on track to where we want to be." He said having former skipper Brewster back in the camp, working with them as coach, had made an impact, as they seek to return to the level which they saw them win a Grand Slam title in Canada. Only the second Scottish men's team ever to do so, in their first season together in 2018-2019. Tom had a big influence on my career, previously when I played with him, so to have him back on the board this season has been brilliant, he said. Petershill ready for Scottish Cup Challenge. Petershill are through to the last 16 of the South Challenge Cup after winning a 1-0 win at Cumbernauld United. A goal by Evan Galasso 6 minutes from time was enough to give the Conference C-side victory over their Premier Division opponents and book a 5th round trip to Lowland League side Bo'ness United. The win was also the perfect preparation for Peasies as they get set to take on another Premier Division side, Largs Thistle, away from home this Saturday in the quarter-finals of the Scottish Junior Cup. There was disappointment, however, for Ashfield, who went down 2-0 at home to St Cadoc's in WOSFL Conference B clash. The match looked to be heading for a goalless draw, but the deadlock was broken by Dylan Dykes 12 minutes from time, and Chris Dallas added a second. This Saturday, Ashfield, currently sitting in 9th position in the table, are away to 5th placed Thornywood United. Glasgow Perthshire, who had no matches last weekend, will be at home to Kilsyth Rangers on Saturday in a Conference C encounter. Ashfield has also confirmed that Michael Oliver, currently manager of Kirkintilloch amateur side Hearstanes, will take over as boss at Ashfield at the end of the season. Oliver, a former Clyde, Cumbernauld Colts and East Stirlingshire defender, will succeed Paul Maxwell, who announced his resignation at the end of the year to focus on his role as managing director of the Ashfield Academy. Oliver will be joined at Ashfield by his assistant Jamie Broadfoot, who will take over from Ryan Dackhill. Rob Roy ready for huge test. Written by Ian McLean. Opportunity knocks for Kirkintilloch Rob Roy this Saturday as they face Arthurlie at Guy Meadows with a place in the semi-finals of the Scottish Junior Cup at stake. Much of the attention recently has been on the club's off-the-field efforts to secure return to Kirkintilloch. But managers Stuart Maxwell's focus this week is very much on what happens on the pitch and a competition which has a revered place in the club's history. Rob Roy have lifted the trophy on 3 occasions and have beaten finalists 5 times. In the 60th anniversary of their last triumph in 1962, Maxwell would like nothing more than to add another chapter to the story. But he knows it won't be easy against an Arthurlie side who, although they play a tier below Premier Division, Rob Roy, are having a fine season and are unbeaten in the league, with 20 wins and just 1 draw from 21 matches. Preparations haven't been ideal. Friday's 1-0 derby defeat at Rosvale followed a Kilmarnock Pie League Cup tie against conference strugglers Larnock last Monday, which Rabs somehow contrived to lose on penalties after being 2-0 up with a minute to play. Maxwell felt his side weren't rewarded for dominant performances in both games, but they paid the price for not taking their chances, and he knows they can't afford a similar mistake against Arthurlie. He said, quote, "I'm under no illusions how tough a game it will be. Rob Roy are a traditional Scottish Cup team, but have not had a lot of success in recent years. To get the Holy Grail, if you will call it that, would be massive, especially with everything the club has gone through recently. It shouldn't be underestimated how good a support we've got, and how good a community. Ultimately, players do things for themselves, as a group, and as individuals, but I'd love to see them do it for the club and the community. When you get chances at this level, you've got to be clinical. We've got a lot of younger players in our squad, and if you want to make a reputation for yourself, it's the big games where it matters. You've got to produce in the big games and be able to handle the pressure of playing at a top club like Rob Roy. There's a demand that comes with playing with this club." Rossvale stuns Rabs after early red card. Rossvale took the derby bragging rights from Friday night's clash with Kirkintilloch Rob Roy, despite playing almost all the match with only 10 men. Vale were dealt a blow just 9 minutes into the WOSFL Premier Division encounter at Petershill when Brad Roden was red-carded for a wild challenge on Chris O'Kane. Unsurprisingly, the visitors enjoyed the bulk of possession after that, but they couldn't break through a resolute Rosvale rear guard, and they were made to pay when Roswell grabbed the winner with 11 minutes left. Robbie Torrance broke clear down the right, and his low cross was met by Jordan Logan, who steered a fine first-time finish wide of Rabs keeper Christopher Smith. Despite the win, Vale remain deep in regulation trouble. 6 points from safety with 6 games left and with more games played than their rivals. Vale host Cumbernauld United tonight, brackets Wednesday, and Hurlford on Saturday. West Park bow out of Scottish. Bishopbriggs club West Park United's bid to end their first season in the senior amateur ranks with a Scottish Amateur Cup triumph is over. West Park made it all the way to the last 8, but their cup route isn't over after they went down 2-0 to Central Scottish AFL Premier Division side Wishaw HSFP at Hunters Hill on Saturday. The club tweeted after the match, quote, "Not our day. Wishaw won 2-0 and deservedly so. More determination from individuals and collectively we huffed and puffed, but credit must go to Wishaw. Good team, nice guys, and we wish them all the best." End quote. However, West Park are still on course to end this season with silverware, as they currently lead the Central Scottish AFL Championship by 2 points.
And that was this week's edition of the Kirkintilloch Herald as published on Wednesday, the 9th of March 2022.